We are going to explore a project idea. And so this is an idea that one of the current students in data management has, which is to see if there's a correlation between warm weather and tourism in Bruce Peninsula National Park. And so the Grotto and Flowerpot Island are getting to be very, very popular. So those are key destinations on the Bruce Peninsula. A lot of people go there now. And it's actually becoming something of an issue. So there's the national park itself turn away an average of 600 cars every day, at least in 2016. They changed how they provide access to the park in 2017, but that's still a lot of cars that get turned away every day. There's a big increase in traffic issues, including fatal traffic accidents. And the OPP have had to increase their presence on the highway to manage the increased volume of traffic. Tobermory itself, there's a big problem because there's a big shortage of parking. Look at everybody. Some of them are parking in the water. Well, no, not really. That was an accident. But parking on some days is becoming a big issue. So it leads to this question. We have to provide all these additional resources in the northern Bruce Peninsula to try and manage all of the extra tourism. But tourism is not steady. So it's increased steadily year over year, but throughout the week, it might go up or it might go down. Some weeks might be poorer than others. And most people would tell you, well, it has something to do with the weather. So sometimes it has to do with the weather on the weekend when people show up. Sometimes it has to do with the weather prior to the weekend when people are making their plans. And so if you could answer that question, you could say, well, we really don't have to worry about adding parking lots this weekend or hiring extra people because the weather's been cold and nobody's going to come. So you could manage your resources. So this becomes a kind of a good question. It predicts things that people are interested in knowing. So here's the hypothesis. Warm, dry weather increases tourism in Tobermory. And that could be tourism in the Grotto or all the spillover tourism in Tobermory or tourism on Flowerpot Island, the Flowerpot Island boats. So where do you look for the data? Well, probably if you're looking for weather data, you are not going to be collecting primary data. You're going to be collecting secondary data, which means data that somebody else has collected. And Environment Canada does this. They have lots and lots of data, historical data, and I think that includes data by the day, by the hour for a particular location. So probably the weather data exists. Now, whether this project is going to be done by year, like it was a hot year that year and a lot of people showed up, or whether it's going to be more of a follow the trends by the week. And so this was a warm week and tourism was greater than normal, or this was a cold week and tourism was less than normal. My gut feeling is that this one's going to pan out probably by the week because like they'll say, this year was really warm. It was 1 degree more than average. That doesn't seem like a really big difference in the temperature. My guess is this is going to be done by the week, looking for warmer weeks and cooler weeks within a year, and probably looking at different years. Now, to correlate that data, the second part is trying to get a handle on the level of tourism. So this is going to be a secondary one again, and it may be a bit of guesswork as to where that secondary data is going to come for the tourism side. I suspect that the national park probably keeps records, and they probably don't mind releasing those records to the public. And so that might be an email to get those records. Statistics Canada, remember the CanSim database, there might be something on there, but I doubt it. Tourist boards, they sometimes keep track of how many people go through the information booths. They'll get an idea of how many people are using their services and track that so that they can report back for funding year to year. So you might be able to go to the tourist board and ask them if they have data that would look after sort of what the yearly what the, I guess, weekly number of tourists are in the location. So there you go. You're looking, definitely probably have weather data. There's probably data to be found otherwise, you might have to be a little bit creative to get it. But That's it. So there's exploring an hypothesis. Does warm weather lead to greater tourism? Looking at where the data might come from. And that's actually a pretty good project.